It's day 7, heading today from Lons-le-Saunier to Geneva. Keep watching to see what happens during the day. I'm Roger, this is Roger Rides for AT. Just left the hotel, just in the background there. Lovely hotel, very pleasant night, food was good, no complaints at all. Bike storage in the underground garage, so all good. Today's ride is going to see quite a bit of climbing as I go over the Jura mountains. Anyway, let's see what's in store. Well, I'm about 3 miles into the ride, already climbed over 500 feet. You can just about see the town if you look under the bridge. That's where I've come up from. Well, the sign over there says 18%. Doesn't surprise me. I must admit I did get off and push for a bit. I think given the weight of the bike and everything, that's justified. It's not even 10 o'clock yet, and it's 32 degrees. I've got to look after myself over and above pedalling what I wanted to do. If it means I get off and walk, I get off and walk. Let's just throw some stats out. 3.5 miles so far. That's just 5% of the total mileage for today. 784 feet of climbing. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, 32 degrees. Take it easy, Rog. Get to the end. Well, it's cooled down slightly in the trees, and just had a nice little bit of downhill. It's cooled me down a bit as well. You can see the profile here of what I've got to come for today. I've got a climb coming up, another descent, then another long climb, small descent, a bit more climb, take me up to, what's that say, 4,500 feet is it? And then down and into Geneva. I'm hoping, and certainly from what I've seen, the majority of those climbs are long, less steep, 5-6%. That's the sort of thing I see on the way home from work. Not for this length, but as an altitude, or as a gradient should I say. See how it goes. So a little stop just now in the tiny village of Pont-de-Poit. very picturesque looking river running through. I believe it goes down to a gorge or something like that, maybe some rapids a bit further downhill, but not on my road. Since then I've turned off onto what we would know as a B road, having been on something more akin to an A road before that, judging by the signposts that were pointing to Geneva and a similar distance to what I've got planned. I think I'm going to be pretty much following that main road all day. It's wide, not overly busy. But it is nicer to get onto a less busy road like this. Now it showed us only having 9 climbs today. Work out also I'm climbing a total of 8,000 feet. You soon realise how long some of these climbs are. This one, for example, it's just one climb, 10.5 miles long, average gradient of about 3. The average gradient's not too bad. It's the 10.5 miles bit of it. But this sort of gradient is doable. I ride steeper than this every day. It's the only way to get back into Cranfield from whatever direction. Difference being, it's not a 10.5 mile ride uphill every day. Take it easy, keep hydrated. To finish first you have to finish. To quote Ron Dennis in his days of running McLaren. In a lovely wooded area at the moment, just stopped for a little bit of shade, little leg rest just for a couple of minutes. I'll knock some water back as well. Climbed over 2,000 feet so far today. That's a quarter of the total climb. This particular hill, it's quite gentle, quite comfortable climbing, if you ignore the 30+ degree heat. Still got about 1,000 feet to go up. Then I've got a downhill and more up, and so on and so on. As you can tell, there's a bit of tree work going on, forestry work. Can't see it, but yeah, I can hear it. The sound of cowbells. bird song. That's it. Other than that, silence. Apart from me, so I'll shut up. I'm heading that way. come from that way. That's a long way down. If you haven't donated yet, because you don't think this is enough of a challenge for me, let me tell you, this is one very long climb. I still have, it's about 5 miles to the summit of this particular climb. It's 37 degrees. Difference is, I've got a choice. AT kids don't have a choice. Well, the sign there shows St Claude as being 10 kilometres away. It's only just down the road. There was a sign saying the summit is about 8 kilometres away. So, something in the region of 18 kilometres of a climb. And I'm, what, 2/3 of the way up now? Almost. And then I've got another one to follow. Catch you later. Don't know if you can see it, but I can see a canopy with a bright yellow canopy, a bunch of people around it. I'm not sure if that's a cafe or something. The bad news is it's uphill, but it could be extremely welcome. Let's see when I get up there.
C'est pour ça aussi qu'il y a des gens là que je Ah oui, c'était ça.
La Mad Jacques.
Oui, c'était Mika.
I'm at 4,300 and something feet above sea level. This is the highest point of today's ride. I think the descent is just starting, which will take me down into Geneva. Down there, I can't remember what that place was called, but I've just come up from there. At least I think that's the one. And just look at this valley all the way through. Not a lot you can see because of the trees, but I'm sure you can get an idea of what it's like. Bit of cloud about now. First cloud I've seen since leaving home, I think. Hopefully nothing. I'm not sure how far it is till I cross the border into Switzerland. I know it's about 15 or 16 miles to Geneva from here. Catch you later. I'm going to enjoy the downhill now. Ridden a few yards further. There's the sign saying the summit 1,323 metres. Top of the ski slope there. Maybe a bar there. I might have earned it. Or do I wait till I'm in Geneva? We'll see. So in the distance is Lons-le-Saunier, or Lake Geneva as we know it. This board here scan around it, but it's showing what I'm looking at. If I'm pointing the camera at where it says Mont Blanc is, so it should be centre of the shot, just behind where the trees start to rise up a bit on the right. I'm not riding up Mont Blanc, before anyone asks. Tomorrow though, I will be riding around the lake. I'm just trying to see if I can see where I'm heading. But tomorrow I start following the Rhone upstream, from Geneva, up towards its source, up not far from Andermatt. Anyway, I had to stop here to look at this. It's a fantastic view. Pleased to be able to share it with you as well. But now I'm going to get going, start riding downhill into Geneva to my hotel for a well-earned beer, a shower, not sure which I need the most, and some rest and dinner. So that's the Jura mountains where I've just come from. Couldn't tell you exactly which direction offhand, but those mountains there. Nothing behind the cloud. Stayed dry. In fact, whether it will continue, I don't know. Sign that the airport's fairly close. Some of the mountains behind, which would be the Alps. More in a bit. I didn't really wrap up today whilst riding. The camera was running out of battery. Whilst I have 2 spare batteries, it hardly seems worthwhile stopping to switch over and just do a wrap up. So I thought I'd do that now, having got back to the hotel, showered, got freshened up, something to eat, all the good stuff like that. Anyway, today ended up at 71 miles, plus a fraction, over 7,000 feet of climbing. That is my second best ever. And if you factor in the heat, over 30 degrees today. More than happy at that performance. I also clocked up my longest ever climb ever. I think earlier I mentioned that there weren't many climbs showing on my Wahoo. Was it 9? But what there was sort of 10 miles, 11 miles, that sort of thing. So some long climbs today. Fairly steady. Most of those, 3-4%, something like that. But when it goes on for mile after mile after mile after mile after mile, especially considering the heat, it was in excess of 30 degrees for pretty much all of the ride today. So it took some effort, but I've done it. That really sets me up for not so much tomorrow, but the day after and the day after that. Tomorrow is mostly flat. It's around Lake Geneva, or Lake Léman, to give it its local name. And then a bit of a climb up to Martigny. The day after that I start climbing up into the Alps on the Furka Pass, and that's a 2-day climb really.
see how I feel. I might throw in some extra sort of down and up on some of the other passes along the way, but let's concentrate on what I'm here to do first. If I decide to add to it, all well and good. See how I feel and that sort of thing. It's been some long days riding. Tomorrow should be a bit better. It's only about 80 miles, only about 2,000 feet of climbing, or 2,500, something like that. So shouldn't be too bad. Even when I start climbing up into the Alps, it doesn't look horrendous. I'm just wondering if I'm making a mistake by actually saying that. But anyway, I'm in Geneva. I've clocked up over 1,000 kilometers already, 1,021 I think it was, in a week. I'm out of France. I'm in Switzerland because that's where Geneva is. I'm in the area that I wanted to get to. Just a quick recap. The original thinking for this trip was to ride the Rhine cycleway. That starts up in Andermatt in the Alps. That's where I will be Tuesday, is it? In a few days' time anyway. I shall be up there. So for the next 3 days I'll be following the Rhone upstream. So this is where the rivers and mountains thing comes in. Mountains, we've had the Jura today. Fantastic scenery. Loved it. A couple of times I wasn't so sure, but on the whole, loved it. Tomorrow it's following the Rhone. As I say, doing that for the next 3 days. Let's see how it goes. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Come back tomorrow and see what I get up to tomorrow and how that goes. I'm now going to put the video together for today, get that uploaded and get some sleep. Then I can get up in the morning, do it all again. So, thank you very much. Good night. See you tomorrow.